I wanted to show you something. I pulled out some plywood from my loft yesterday that was really old. I haven't used it, or I bought it probably 5 or 6 years ago, but look what's happened to it. This top layer of the ply has just been peeling off. I've never seen that happen before. It's way up high, it's off the ground, never gets wet up there. Any ideas why that happens and how to prevent that? As a woodworker, I have a love-hate relationship with plywood. I really like using plywood for a lot of projects because I know it's going to be nice and flat and stable and relatively easy to work with. The downside is that it's so huge, and so I get that one 4x8 sheet and I got to cut it down into smaller, more usable pieces for the woodworking shop. So here's a sheet I pulled down from up in the loft, and it looks like this is, about a half a sheet that I got at some point, and I'm going to saw this down to use for my little bathroom project that I'm going to post next week. But I wanted to show you one of the tools I use for getting that done. This is my circular saw, and I don't use it that often because, well, I do mainly woodworking and not really construction projects. But what I wanted to show you was this little add-on device that I got. It's called an AccuRip, at least mine is. I'm sure they come in other brand names. That's probably trademarked. But this is probably the handiest tool I have for making initial rough cuts. So what it does is it attaches, to that bottom plate of your circular saw. It just screws down with these little thumb screws down there and sets it into place. You adjust it a little bit initially to make sure that it's completely square. But the whole key to this is this little sliding fence here, and it's got a scale on here that is remarkably accurate. So say I want to cut a board that is 6 inches long. What I do is I would take this well to the end of my board, and then I would just move this little fence over to the 6-inch mark, and I've got this little fence here. Then all I do is just run the saw all the way through my cut. Now, I use it for just getting the pieces to a manageable size that I could really tweak on my table saw. So I don't cut them down to the final size with that jig, I just cut them down close.